Master Anatomy and Physiology with Indramani Pandey.
Good morning, guys. This is my first introduction lecture about anatomy and physiology, and I'm gonna teach anatomy and physiology for several months from today. Today's main purpose of this lecture is to introduce the terms, the anatomy and the physiology before we move on. So this is a very critical stage that we need to understand the term anatomy and the physiology. Anatomy basically means the structure, whatever structure your body has, your body structure or any animal's body structure, it doesn't matter, but the anatomy basically means the structure. And the physiology means the functional part. If you understand the anatomy part, it will be easier for you to understand how it works. And in human body, there are different complex systems that work together. And we need to understand the structure of those complex systems to understand the total function, how body works, how metabolic activities takes place in our body, how homeostasis helps us to balance our regular temperature of the body. So these are the basic things we need to understand. So the anatomy term is started or originated from Greek. The anatomy means to cut apart. Okay, you can cut the structure and see the structure, what kind of structures are present. For example, if you're looking the structure of lungs, okay, you're gonna see the branches of the lungs, like two branches, main branches right there, and you're gonna see sacs. And you're gonna look inside the sac by cutting or incision on that. You're gonna see bronchi or other types of structure inside alveoli or other types. So this is critical stage to understand the general structure before we move on. So let me introduce the anatomy, as I told you, to cut apart, or it is the structural part, and the physiology is the functional part, which may work in atomic level, like for example, like ions or any channels, So the physiology can work in like very specific, like small particles. Okay, you're going to talk about action potential during these lectures, like after a few months. So, like, in why anatomy and physiology? Because it is a very wide spread topic, because many clinicians and many doctors, physicians look the structure and look deformity or look for damage to identify what's going on in your body. Our body is like a machine. How it works is sometimes it doesn't work right way. So we need to figure out how to fix that. To fix that, you need to understand the structure. Okay, so that's why anatomy and physiology important, and we cannot separate anatomy and physiology because of the principle of complementarity of structure and function. That means certain structure has certain type of function. Okay, for heart, the main function is to pump blood throughout the body. So our body can be oxygenated through the blood, and the hormones can be uh, spread throughout the body to do a specific type of function. And in topics of anatomy, if we're talking about topics of anatomy, what we consider is there are basically two types of anatomy. One is gross or macroscopic anatomy, in which you look the structure. The structure is huge. You don't need any magnification or microscope to see the structure and figure out what are the structures are present on those particular structure. And another is microscopic anatomy, in which you look through the microscope. For example, the study of cells, which is cytology, and the study of tissues, which is histology. You consider using microscope to see the cellular structure. You're gonna see the mitochondria. You're gonna see the nucleus. So you cannot see nucleus, mitochondria, and chloroplast through your naked eye. You need some type of magnification, which falls under microscopic anatomy. And the last one is developmental anatomy. For example, any living organisms, how they develop. For example, starting from the embryo development, like, and the implantation in the fetus, like fetus implantation in the uterus, we always consider how each and every levels are developing. Okay, that deals with developmental anatomy, and which is often known as embryology, which is a subdivision of the developmental anatomy. And another topics of physiology, if you're talking about physiology, in your human body, there are different physiological activities happening, like renal physiology, how urine is forming, how urine helping you to uh, to separate different molecules and to eliminate some hazardous materials or hazardous fluids. Like you're going to talk about urea, how urea is like excreted. Okay, we're going to focus on those things. Neurophysiology, how human brain works. Okay, what are the coordination on those, how brain and other organs work together. So that is basically falls under the anatomical structure and the relationship, the complementarity between them. And another is cardiovascular system. We just talk about that. We're going to talk about heart, blood vessels, and blood, how the blood travels throughout the body, how it is spread throughout the body to functionalize the human body. And in next lecture, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about survival needs of the body. We're going to talk about structural organization of the human body. We're going to talk about homeostasis, and we're going to talk about anatomical terms, and we're going to talk about directions, regions, and the planes. And this is the lecture for today. Thank you.
Please subscribe to see more videos regarding anatomy and physiology.